Should we start with Our Girl? Have you watched that, Gary?
I have indeed. I've watched everything this week that was
And
on our
there
list.
comes my abstain card. Right out, I'm pulling it out. I'm abstaining.
Stop pulling out your abstain card. We told
I
you.
am.
Yeah, stop pulling things out. Get
It's
away
got
with
no
it.
stains on it. It's just an abstain card. I'm abstaining. I just don't like the show. As I've always said, if you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Gosh, you'd be quiet on this podcast a lot if that happened.
I just don't enjoy it. It's not for me, and some things aren't, and so I'm abstaining.
So this is the third series of Tony Grounds' army drama. The second that features Michelle Keegan as Georgie Lane, who's an army medic. This is sort of an odd structure now. They've commissioned 12 episodes of Our Girl, but they're putting them in 3 blocks of 4 to focus on 3 different tours that Georgie and her company are doing. This first block of 4 is all set around Nepal. Georgie and her team are helping sort of the relief mission after an earthquake. The main plot, I suppose, is that there's a new soldier in the group, Maisie. Georgie and her have got some history together after a sort of Syria mission they clashed on. Maisie's put under Georgie's wing, and she sort of acts up throughout, you know, does reckless things and makes tasteless jokes. Bit like Luke, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, very much like Luke.
And Georgie, there's a bit of a thing happening between her and this guy called Milan, who's one of the aid workers, and there's a lot of aftershock.
He's an engineer, I think, that's been assigned to the area because of his work with earthquakes and stuff.
Gary, do you want to run through what you thought, and then I'll add my 2 bits?
Yeah, I liked this because I think they've moved on with it. Last year there was a lot of the relationship stuff. Not only was she about to get married to a civilian, but also she'd got back slightly ended up with her previous boyfriend Elvis, who was in the very beginning. This one seems a little bit more, we're going to focus on actually the work that they're doing. So they're working in an earthquake area. There's a number of aftershocks. There's a lot of medical problems. It seems very timely again. Again, I don't know why, but I remember this last year. The stuff they were dealing with seems very in the news. You know, what with all the earthquakes, with all the sort of the relief operations in the Caribbean and the Puerto Rico. It just seems like they've managed to hit a time when people are focusing on relief and aid, and it's a good example of what the British Army does in certain areas. I do think Michelle Keegan is extremely good in this role. I know Luke would say, based on last year, some of the conversations and the dialogue is a bit clunky.
Yeah.
The other characters, apart from Maisie, are no-name-ish and rude and crude, and they're just total squaddies.
Well, I didn't like Maisie either. I thought she was,
but you kind of see
poorly drawn though. You know, she was very one-dimensional. She kept calling everyone Doris all the time and sort of being very mouthy. And I know that's part of the character, and she'll soften. And her and Georgie will. You know, you could see what's going to happen there, really.
Well, I don't know. I would agree that, yes, if you were kind of trying to predict it, you would think that, you know, she's going to be turned around and do something, you know, good. And because they've got these groupings of episodes, it'd be interesting to see how many characters make it between the first 4 to the next 4. Overall, I liked it. I do think the only problem is it's probably about 10-15 minutes too long.
Michelle Keegan is good, but I don't think they give her a lot to do here. Tell you what I liked about this was that it feels very well researched, as you said, very timely.
Yeah.
Tony Ground seems to have, you know, researched well, and I like the fact that the antagonist in this is nature rather than like any sort of character. There isn't like a baddie. You know, we're fighting, and they showed a clip of next week's episode where Captain James says something like, "I prefer an enemy I can see," which I do like. I like the fact it's almost like a bit of almost like a disaster drama in a way. You know, like a natural disaster type thing. I mean, I'm not convinced with the dialogue again, but it's likable enough. It moves quite quickly, and yeah, I do enjoy it. But I think you're still the biggest fan of the 3 of them.
Yeah, I do think it's a show that's actually sort of managed to get onto my rotation pretty good. I was looking out for it.
I think Tony Grounds is very good at sort of researching and doing his work, and the army stuff and the medical stuff all works really well. And I'm guessing you were quite happy that there was a lot of medical stuff in this after Dr. Foster.
Well, that's right, yeah. Which is not a medical show, as Luke keeps telling me.
Where he does fall down is in the sort of relationships between the characters. I don't sort of believe like this sort of animosity.
Yeah, we've had this complaint since the beginning, since the first season with the girl out of EastEnders in it.
But Georgie and Maisie's sort of friction that you know is going to dissipate as we go on, and obviously the return of Elvis to do like another love triangle with her after doing the thing with. What I'm assuming that what's his face didn't return because he's been arrested after trying to kill Steve Arnott on Line of Duty.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I don't think they'll let him out just for this.
Our Girl continues for the next 3 Tuesdays on BBC One.